Hey guys, good evening, gents. Good evening, man. Good evening. Hi, cred. It's not cred this time. I'll explain it in a bit. Just gonna give it like a minute or two for people to come in. Given it's Friday, always takes a while. Sorry, Don. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let me see. Let me quickly retweet this and then we can get going. Okay, good. Hello, boys and girls. Nice. Okay. Yeah, we can talk quickly about or briefly about Bitcoin and like about XRP, and then we can just do whatever, given it's Casual Friday. But that's basically that. I don't have much planned because we had other plans for today originally. But yeah, Cred is taking care of real life, which I'm always happy with because he's never actually taken a Friday off. And I've always felt bad when I've taken some off. So it's the first time that it's just me on a Friday, which is good because then I don't have to be as self-conscious when I take Fridays off. Don, I've learned so much from you. Appreciate you saying that. Before we start, big shout out to FTX, the sponsor of the show. They still do all the portfolio tracking that they used to, formerly known as Blockfolio, of course. And you can also trade on your mobile device there. So pretty nice. Go check it out if you haven't already. Links are in the description. And yeah, not much to say about that one. But yeah, Bitcoin wise, we've had a really nice bounce today. Off of support. I think I've chatted with some of you in the Discord, like in the DonAlt and Don Discord, about this when it hit support, and it bounced pretty nicely. And it doesn't really look that bad right now. It just has to maintain this level for the rest of the day. If it starts trailing like back down again, that'd be bad. Don't want to see that. Like anything below 47.7 ish, that's where it starts getting dicey, because then you have this resistance come back in. Not something you wanna see. Where is the Discord? I don't have any link to it, but if anyone has like an invite link, I'm pretty sure it's public, and anyone can grab an invite link. I mean, you can just grab that. Can we get a link for the Lumen Don Discord? Is that paywalled? I mean, it's free. I thought everyone knew about it, but yeah, the bottom shortest Discord, exactly. Yeah, that one. I think you can get like an invite if anyone kind of has an invite link. Yeah, check that. Like, please post it because I don't want to open Discord right now. Why did Cred abandon you? Nah, it's just that he's taking care of real life stuff. As far as I know, we haven't really chatted. He was just like, "Can you take over?" And I was like, "Of course I can." But yeah, so that's Bitcoin, right? Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look amazing yet. But if it closes above this like resistance in here, then it would look really good, right? And that would be good for my new established XRP position, which we can talk about briefly. Cred rucked. Yeah. but he rugged like an hour or two ago. So yeah. With regards to XRP, I just bought it basically off of me expecting Bitcoin to break out and off of me seeing it at support, right? So BTC pair, you look at this, you see it at support, right? It hit the support down here. I was like, okay, maybe I want to buy that. We talked about it before. And then I saw Bitcoin showing strength. I was like, okay, just going to pull the trigger. That obviously led to like a nice USD move up. Still tiny, right? Still barely up from where I bought it in the 1.10 range. But it outperformed Bitcoin today, so that's nice. What's with you and XRP able to give insights? I fucking hate XRP. It's just like the setup, and this is all I'm looking at. Like, I think XRP is pretty trash, fundamentally, but this is a pretty nice setup, right? You have like an inverse head and shoulders here in like a double shoulder kind of setup way, and you have like a range fake out to the downside. Like, the setup is just really good. I don't really care about XRP as a project. That's kind of just my entire reasoning behind why I've been trading this. And I mean, I've made some gains on this, right? Last time I bought it was down here, basically right before that green candle happened, and I sold it pretty nicely into the highs, and now I'm just rebuying it. That's kind of like, that's all it is. Like, the only reason why I talk about XRP so much is because the setup's really clean, right? So if you buy the support and you stop out below this support, I mean, that's a tiny kind of risk, and the reward is quite nice. So not much more to it, really. Oh, I saw Baxi in the chat. Hey, Baxi, good to see you. Hanging out with Don because Cred abandoned him. Sup, Don? Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. What do you guys want to do? Like, we can do something different this time because it's Casual Friday, and I mean, we've talked about markets on Wednesday already, and not much has changed. So if you want to talk about like some other stuff, real life stuff, whatever, I'm down. Just depends on what you guys want to do. We can talk about like anything really. Just need like a good suggestion or anything that isn't just coin tickers, because that's just gonna kill me. Going through like coin tickers for an hour when they all look the same, it's just gonna be agony. Hey, don't check this chart, please. Yeah, dude, I knew. Like, the moment I asked for suggestions, I knew it was gonna go down like a shitty road. The problem with like checking charts is that like there's not that much to talk about besides like the hype ones. AVAX, whatever you like, however you pronounce it. This is actually something we talked about last time, and I was like, okay, if it goes to $39-40, that's a pretty decent like kind of buy. And it actually went like pretty much exactly to $40, and then just went up 20%, and I didn't buy it. So there's that. Maximum cope mode engaged. But yeah, that was like a pretty nice bounce from support. As long as it's above that support, it's still looking okay. BTC Cycle Prediction. I mean, let's be like, we can talk about this real quick on the monthly chart, right? If I had to, and I mean, this is just going to depress everyone again, and I'm going to get like hate mail and everything. But if I had to make like a setup for a complacency bounce, this would be it. Like, you have like a high set here, like you start rounding out here. Next month gonna be like, I could see the next month be like absolutely terrible at engulfing this one, maybe engulfing the one before it. Like, that would be the setup I would like look at for like a complacency bounce. Now, it's obviously like not my favorite kind of setup, because I mean, if it is the complacency bounce, it's gonna be like, it's gonna take a while. But given like we have like the NFT mania, we've had like a bunch of like new altcoins show up, steal the show, like that wouldn't surprise me. The only reason why I'm not trading that way is because there's lower time frame ideas that work better than the higher time frame one. So for example, for that complacency bounce that I showed you, right? on the monthly time frame, you could also say like if it starts losing 40k on the daily time frame, then that theory is gonna be confirmed, right? Like you have like a high, make a lower high, and then you fuck off, right? That would be like the monthly time frame playing out. And given that like 40k is reasonably close on the higher time frames, that makes a little bit more sense to me to be like a little bit cautious. And on both sides, right? You don't want to be too bearish. If this is super cycle territory and you're just completely like, you're 100% in one camp or the other, there's a good chance you get wrecked, right? So. Hey Dawn, your tweet earlier about the market seeming really irrational at the moment. I'd like to hear more on that. I'm getting the same kind of vibe, but also think it can get weird, don't know. I mean, that's basically what I'm thinking too. Like whenever the market goes completely crazy, if you fade it too early, like what happens, right? Markets move like this and then they pop and you're like, holy shit, the market's completely batshit crazy. And you're right? This is completely nuts already. But what happens usually in that kind of territory is it just goes vertical and then it starts correcting and it corrects hard, right? And it goes, like you thought, okay, this is irrational already, but then it goes up and like kind of doubles or triples the rally that it's already put in. And then afterwards it pulls back. And then you're right in the end, but you're still going to be wrong timing-wise, right? And that's kind of what my tweet said. Basically, like if the market can be irrational for a while, and if you're kind of betting on this being the top or whatever, with like high leverage or like all chips on the table, whatever, then you're going to have a bad time. And I think that's still the case. I think like if you're shorting the NFT mania in whatever way possible. I've seen people kind of try to borrow NFTs to sell them basically, and then like with a promise to buy them back higher. If that should happen, like it's dangerous, right? I'm not saying it's wrong per se, like the NFT kind of stuff is getting, I think, overheating, but who knows where that goes, right? It could still double, triple, quadruple from here, or even 10x from here, and then go down 99%. And I mean, that I honestly think is still very, very possible. But why is it irrational? Legacy is going up, money is still cheap, tapering happening, but no hike in rates, new money flowing in. When you see like pictures of fucking toilets selling for an ETH, and then you see like there's objectively good NFTs, or like at least decent ones. And then there's garbage, right? And the garbage is going up way too high. Like when you see that, it's obvious that people are just trying to get on and whatever, like in whatever way they can, because it's like they're buying 0.1 ETH NFTs and trying to flip it, and then like you see some outrageous stuff going on in that space. And yeah, for me, like that's starting to like go into the irrational kind of corner. But then again, like NFTs aren't my market, and I know that stuff that goes that crazy can go much, much more crazy. But I'm 100% like in my mind, and maybe I'm just like too boomer to understand NFTs, since like every shitty artwork that anyone has done like in the last few months, and there must be millions, is the next big Picasso or whatever, but I doubt it. So there you go. But with regards to like coins, like Bitcoin, for example, I mean, I don't think Bitcoin's irrational. Like this isn't irrational. It's just like the other stuff that is. Like this could go higher, and I think it would go like start going irrational into like the 80, 90, 100Ks. So there's a big difference there. And I mean, the best case scenario for everyone would just be like value bleed from NFTs back into Bitcoin. It's just that rarely happens on the way up. Just a general question for chat: can you short NFTs? I know that you can borrow some from people and tell them like you're gonna give them back to like gives back to them at a later date. It's just pretty difficult because the thing is with NFTs, like if someone buys them from you, they're non-fungible, right? You can't just remake it, or you can't just give back something similar to the person that you borrowed it from. So, but there are ways. It's just not easy. Okay. Hey Dawn, I see ETH only really having one more significant resistance. Would you agree that this leg up would possibly be better to focus on ETH and coins outperforming ETH? I mean, yes, there's only one resistance left on ETH, and it's actually looking quite strong. Like you have this high set, you have like a double top in here. If we start breaking that, there's no real resistance on ETH left, right? At least on the USD pair. It's pretty much almost back to all-time high or again already. But I think like just because there's no resistance left doesn't mean it has to go into crazy price exploration. And if Bitcoin goes really hard, the altcoins they're not gonna outperform too hard, I think, if Bitcoin goes really hard. I'd be surprised if they outperformed at all. So yeah, that's that. With regards to other altcoins, I mean, like today's been the bounce day, given Bitcoin's just shown some strength, but it's still like there's still obviously like a lot of reservation on people's mind. Like the only kind of market that is really hot is the NFT market, and for some weird reason, ADA. Like ADA has just been going nuts. And has not really given any high time frame pullbacks, but like the low time frames have been decent. It's just like I don't trade these too much. Should have probably, like just trading the support resistance levels. This is kind of crazy, right? Like Bitcoin goes up a little bit and then ADA goes up like 13% on that day. Care to touch on XRP? I already did. I just bought it because I thought Bitcoin was going to break out. And then Bitcoin did break out. So I made a bunch of money on the USD pair. A little bit on the Bitcoin pair. Not too much. And I hope this actually doesn't start rolling over. That'd be pretty nasty. Like on the Bitcoin pair on the daily. Like on the daily, this looks kind of shitty. It's just the weekly that looks really good, right? It hit support. I could see it go from there. Did you reposition back into XRP USD as well? I mean, I bought XRP with USD, so yeah. Like the good thing is, like I saw this and I can explain my reasoning if you want to, like if you want to talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin looked like this, hit support, right? This is daily support in here, hit that, bounced, went sideways. And then it had a couple of chances to dump, right? Once like on the first dump and then the second one. And then it did like this SFP thing on the lower time frames, right? To the downside, swung back up, did it to the upside. And like if it really wanted to dump, it should have dumped here on the lower time frames. It's just something like when you're given so many opportunities to dump in a convenient way and you don't, it usually means it's gonna go up. And in this case, it just started grinding up into like this 4-hour resistance, right? And it hit it once, and then it kind of hit it again and started dumping. And whenever that happens, and I know like it refused to dump down here, I usually try to get a position. So did that during basically this red candle and the next one. Into XRP basically, because I was like, okay, XRP's been punished on the way down. Like when Bitcoin went down, XRP BTC went down, and I hoped that XRP would kind of outperform on the way up. It's not really been doing that. It's just been going sideways. Outperformed a little bit, but not too much. But at least it's still like on par, so nothing lost there. But that was kind of my reasoning. Like whenever you see low time frames like that, like into support, and like there's so many reasons to dump and so many like good opportunities to do so, and it doesn't, then you can just kind of fade it, and that usually works. And just broke through resistance one go. and now we have like this is daily resistance. So if we start dumping back below this, start looking really bad, but I'd be surprised at this point. So that was kind of my reasoning, not that much into it. Like the reason why like I didn't buy just Bitcoin straight up is because I think the XRP BTC setup is a really nice one, right? Like I said, and I've explained this way too many times, but it's like, it's a range. We fell below it. It had like a black swan, didn't die. That's why I like it so much, because I mean, there's a high time frame range. This could still, and I think this is still risky, and it could still just bleed out. But the reason why I like it so much is because there's a setup there that if it resolves to the upside, it can be quite big. It's just, I mean, it's not 100% certain that it's going to play out to the upside, just with any trade, really. But yeah, there you go. Any Bitcoin fundamental news? Like the pump basically was, this pump here was basically the tapering news. I mean, you can just Google tapering news today, and then you can just read how, like, what happened. I don't want to give a summary because every time I talk about it, I feel like unqualified. It's not my market. I still read and kind of consume that kind of media stuff that is put out there, but it's like, I don't want to talk about it too much because I think there's better people that you could listen to for that kind of stuff, and then just read it yourself. Are you secretly Ivan on tech? I take that as a big insult, my friend. But yeah, anything else? Should we talk about market? Should we talk about I don't know. People ask me about my golf game. People ask me about my golf game every single time I stream. And it's like, guys, I'm really shit still, obviously. I just started and I don't play too often because I'm a lazy fuck, but it's fun. What the fuck? There's so many. Are you secretly Hazu? No, I wish though. Guy's a mega chat. Don't you think rise was due to DXY falling? It's a good question. The reason why the dollar index fell was because of the news that I just talked about. Basically, no tapering. So there you go. Like the fundamentals kind of impacted this. This fell because of those, and you could say Bitcoin went up because of the news, or you could say the news drove the dollar index down, so Bitcoin went up. Either one works. Whatever you like, whatever floats your boat. Why don't stocks go down? It's not my market, but yeah, this is hilarious in its own right? This is something I usually like to do, like draw like a line through price action when it goes like this. And the crazy part is this hasn't really gone parabolic yet. Now, like we've had this and it fell out of like that kind of super steep trajectory. And then it just fell into the steady one, and it's been climbing like that ever since. And it's not gone parabolic yet. So if you want to like talk about like something blowing the lid off, and I mean, who knows how this is going to end. This hasn't even done like the parabolic rise yet, right? Like it would have to look like that. And then, but if it does so, right? If it really goes, like the traditional markets really go and start like deviating from this line, then you have to start being like, okay, maybe we're in for some trouble. But it's the SPX, right? It always goes up. Look at this. This is the never ending, and we can go S&P, can go and look at this on a longer time frame if you guys want to. Let's do like a yearly one. This is the perfect Ponzi. And anyone telling you otherwise is lying. Now, again, if you want to like make an argument for like parabolic rises, it's hilarious because this has actually done exactly that, right? It's just been going parabolically up. And I'd argue this one is steeper than this one, but just barely. But like calling a top based on something like that, fucking hard. I wouldn't want to do it. Like, I wouldn't want to be the guy that's trying to short this thing. Money printer go brrr. Yep. It's what it is. Like, money printing makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, it gets a lot of shit, but there's actually like good reasons to do it. It's just like, if it gets excessive, it's obviously bad. How long have you been trading crypto? I started following in 17, but guessing you've been here longer. Yeah, so like my crypto history, I don't know if anyone really cares, but like my crypto history was, my brother told me about like Bitcoin back in very, very early, back when you could mine it with your CPU. So like, it didn't really have a price tag back then. Wasn't really any exchanges or any of that sort back then. He mined it, got a couple of Bitcoin, told me about it being like really cool. And then like a month later, we tried buying, but couldn't find a way besides like using a credit card, and asked our mom about it. And this was like way, way back. This was way, way back, like below these prices. Asked our mom about it, like, could we use your credit card, please? And we were still younger, of course. And she said no, she doesn't want to do anything like with internet money. She doesn't want to have her credit card like information stolen or whatever. So she just said no. And we back then, like, we wanted both to invest 50 euros into it, like each. And Bitcoin was trading like at $1 or something. And then so we just like kind of gave up on it. We're like, okay, whatever. Not a big deal. And then it went to 1K, like in the China bubble. And we both like, were like, fuck, oh well, we've missed it. And then it started breaking down again. And I was just watching it from time to time. And was like, okay, this is internet money. It's like me, this is kind of nice. But never pulled the trigger. And then I found Dogecoin and was like, holy shit, this is like, it's not only internet money, but it's like the perfect meme. Just gonna buy some of it and then put some money into the market. That was like pretty lucky, somewhere in this range. I still have like the Dogecoin wallet from back then. And then it just, like, Dogecoin went through an old season. I kind of saw that happen like a while afterwards. And my money had like 10, 15, 20x or whatever. And then I was like, holy shit, this is actually pretty nice. Like, it's really volatile. You can make money with it. And that's kind of where my journey started. But I wasn't really like all in like trading kind of stuff during that time. I was just like, from time to time, watching the market. Got Dogecoin pretty nicely at the Bitcoin bottom, basically. And yeah, that's how my trading career started. Don, are you 21? Nope, older. But yeah, I was like, that's the whole story, basically. And then I like exchanged my Doge for Bitcoin, and then played the old season pretty nicely back into 17. And then the rest, you know, because you said you followed me since 17. What did you do before crypto? I studied. I was a student in university. First time I catch the stream live, 4 a.m. here. Cheers, Don. I appreciate you coming by, man. Don't force yourself to watch me on like a 4 a.m. Friday night. Saturday night then, if you're from Asia. Don sounds like he's 45, but he's really 25. I mean, I'm closer to 25 than I am to 45. So yeah, there you go. That's the story of that. Not much to say about it. Hi Dawn, I really think that you are the most technically proficient trader of all crypto. Could you please tell whether for new entrants, what could you have done differently? Like, there's a bunch of mistakes I still make. One is like getting out too early. Like, I always underestimate how stupid markets can go. If you remember back, like I bought back in like at 31.5 and then I sold relatively soon after. That was like, honestly, like that wasn't the worst sell. Like I didn't mind, like this is just like for me for trading, right? Like I always, like I don't mind holding my trades for a short period of time, even more so when I'm not home, right? You don't want to be like in trades stuck too long when you're not like available in front of the computer, because what happens is that all your kind of trade management edge goes away, right? You can't do anything. If anything crazy happens, you're just gonna eat a loss. So I usually tend to, like, if I leave the house for like a few couple days and I don't have any access to trading, I usually just close my trade. So like that has a lot to do with it. And that was like that trade basically, where I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna be home for like 4 days. Fuck it, I'm fine with taking profits. But in general, whenever I buy, and even when I'm at home, like I expect stuff to go from support to resistance, but what usually happens in crypto is when stuff is at support, it overshoots resistance by quite a bit. And then it obviously still returns most of the time, but like that overshoot is something that I underestimate pretty much every time. And then the same thing is true for like these, like for example, NFTs. I knew they'd be going up, but I didn't think that they'd go this crazy, right? And like that's one of the mistakes I still do. And what's other mistakes? There's honestly not that many that I really like can complain about, but like that's pretty much the one thing that I struggle with the most. So whenever you trade crypto, just expect craziness. If you like, whenever, like for example, the AVAX stuff, right? Like that comes up and you see it the first time and people shill it like everywhere, and like notable people shill it too. You know that that's gonna have like a second and third leg. I'm not saying like this is it, right? It's just gonna mega moon, but like you started seeing people shill it down here, right? And then it goes, and you know that this is gonna keep momentum, and then you can't underestimate that momentum. Are you fat? Nope. If anything, like I need to gain weight, but I'd say like I'm pretty athletic. Perfect weight for my size. How did you and Cred meet? I mean, we met in a paid group actually, which is hilarious in its own right. So that story goes back in 17. I saw all these like tosses on Twitter post about like their paid groups and how great they are, and I was like, I think they're just fooling people. But like the $200 or whatever, what like the paid group costs, like I can pay that to just kind of confirm, or maybe I'm wrong and maybe there is something to it, right? So that was kind of my idea. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna spend that money to kind of check it out, to make an educated kind of like, to be able to make an educated opinion on it. And so I joined a paid group with back then, and in that paid group I just chatted with people, kind of checked out if there was anything there that I could kind of take value from. Turned out there wasn't really that much, but there was like Cred, and he posted some good charts and had like a good head on his shoulders, and so we got to talk, and developed a friendship. Both left the paid group relatively soon after, both in it for basically the same reason, and that's how that went. So paid groups, not always the worst thing, if you can just find someone that you can connect with. So who's paid group, I'm not going to talk about it, because you guys are going to add them, and then I don't want to deal with it. Are you German? Yes, I am. But yeah, that's the origin story. And then we just kept on chatting, and yeah. When are you coming out with a paid group? Never, dude. Like imagine, and this is why like I don't understand why people do it. Like if you're not desperate for money, you don't have a paid group. It's just how it is. Because think about this, right? You have your like you're a trader. your day is already kind of like, you just sit there watching charts. So like a lot of people would argue, okay, yeah, you could just do something on the side. But the thing is, like if you miss something that is happening, right? Anything that is happening, you're going to make, if you're like a trader and have been in crypto for a while, you're going to make like 100 times what the trading fees or whatever for the paid groups are, if you just don't miss it, right? So let's say you're sitting there and you have to answer like people in Discord that have no idea what they're doing, and you just kind of guide them through how to trade and then into the trades and whatever, answering questions. Like that kind of stuff just sucks. Like it's going to waste your time. You're not going to be there to kind of catch an opportunity, and then it's not going to pay for itself. And that would be fine if it's like a passion of yours. But the thing is, with like paid groups, there's not really, like, I don't think there's anyone that enjoys doing that, because like people are reliant on you, right? And you have to actually like take responsibility for like, yeah, it's just a shit way to make money, unless you have no money, and then it's like a decent way, I guess. But it's not like a fun way to educate people. It's not a fun thing to do in general. So I don't think there's anyone with paid group that is like, if you do it shortly and then you notice, okay, this is just garbage, then whatever. But if you do it for longer, I don't think you're trading that much yourself. That's kind of my opinion on it. Like there might be people that like have a different one, and there might be paid groups that are decent. It's just, in my experience, from what I've seen, there's not really like, there's people on Twitter that provide much better value than any paid group ever could. Like Hisaka's been fucking nailing everything, and he's doing it for free, right? And I don't think there's any way in which he would, for example, sit there, make a paid group, and then waste his time kind of typing stuff out for the people that would actually join a paid group. You sound tall, don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, I am. 6 feet, what? I don't know. 190 centimeters, whatever that is in feet. So. Gotta go, killer streamer, and cheers. Appreciate it. I mean, today is just gonna be casual, right? Hope you guys don't mind, like just chatting. There's not that much to say about the charts that hasn't been said on Wednesday, so I'm trying to like spice it up a little, talk about other stuff. But yeah. Yo, Don, a bit late to the party here. How you doing, my man? Good. It's a nice Friday evening. Nothing better to do than hang out with you guys. Totally sounds tall. I thought the same. I don't know how tall sounds, but I mean, I guess you're right. What's your life philosophy? I mean, I'm just trying to have fun, right? Anything that's just kind of like not fun, and that's just like what I try to do is like I challenge myself, and that's fun to me, right? Like doing new things is fun. Doing like, yeah, just enjoying life as much as you can. Because I mean, there's only, at least like if you're like me and you don't believe in anything, there's only one life that you have. So I mean, if it's shitty, that's just gonna suck. And I mean, sometimes you can't do anything about it, but still trying to make the best of it makes a lot of sense to me. Could you please repeat the Twitter user you recommended a moment ago? I didn't quite catch the name, thanks. It's Hisaka. There you go. The wolf, the white wolf. Can only recommend him. And there's a few more, obviously, but he was the first one to come to mind. What were you studying in university? I was studying a form of geology, actually. I was looking at stones and shit. I just asked why a duck, then realized half of Twitter's are farm animals, but still curious. The reason why I'm a duck is actually quite simple. So, like my name, right? So, my name, DonAlt, right? It's like Donald, like Donald Duck. and then it's like the Don, as in like the chef or whatever, you know the expression, and then of altcoins. And then like all of that combined, right, is where my name comes from. Because I was like, I'm gonna have to come up with a pun. I'm gonna have to use the farm animal for it, because I mean that's just like the trendy thing to do, and I liked it. Like I like the not taking it too serious, and I was like, okay, Donald Duck is pretty funny, and he's like pretty stupid, and that kind of fits me. And yeah, and then just made up that pun, or whatever you want to call that. There you go. That's kind of where my name comes from, because I was like, I didn't think about it much, but I was like, I want to have like an animal. I want to have something that's easygoing and not too serious, and I want to have something that's like involving a pun, and that's where it comes from. You sound goofy. I mean, you gotta have fun in life a little, right? Donald is such a simple, catchy name. Yeah, I think I actually nailed it pretty nicely. I'm really bad at naming stuff. What do you think Bitcoin needs to do for XRP to hit the $3 to $5 area? Does it need to break out hard above 50, or could it just happen while ranging in 47 to 50 area? I think it would actually have to break out and then range. So yeah, it would have to break out above 50. Like if Bitcoin ranged in here, I think XRP could go to $3 to $5. Yeah. Don, invite Lunda to talk about his NFT. I've actually done that, but he wants to like kind of finish it. But he's definitely coming on at some point to kind of talk about it with us or with me. Given I'm like not the biggest proponent for NFTs, it's gonna be a good discussion to have, and we're good friends, so can always kind of shoot the shit, roast each other. So yeah. Is Duck single, or there's family in the pond? No, I'm single. Single, no waifu here. Do you think XRP can reach $10 at the end of a major cycle? I mean, at the end of a major cycle, if the hype isn't concentrated on NFTs alone, I could see it. The thing is, like, don't get me wrong, just because I talk about XRP setup, whatever, doesn't mean like I am like mega bull XRP in general. Like I think like XRP, like this is a coin that you're gonna be glad you've sold at some point. It's just like, as long as the setup is good, I don't really care about it too much, right? Like who cares how it actually like, how it's gonna look in 5 to 10 years if the setup is good right now, right? I'm gonna be buying this and I'm gonna sell it and never look back. And I think that's how you should approach these. If you want to hold anything for the long term, just buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's the easiest and safest bet. And it's going to feel like it's a wrong bet, and it's going to feel like it's a hard bet at the worst possible time, right? So whatever happens in crypto, how it goes is that Bitcoin, like the altcoins, like Bitcoin runs, altcoins could just kind of straggle along, run with it. And then it's going to look like Bitcoin is not the safest bet anymore or whatever. And at that point, the altcoins are going to take a complete shit, and you're going to lose like most of your value. And I don't think any coin really is not part of that. And Bitcoin is going to pull back too, but it's not even close to that. And then the altcoins might go again, right? And they might like go back up in USD and Bitcoin terms. But like the altcoins move like this. Let me actually draw it properly. The altcoins move like this. Bitcoin moves like this. You know? So you want to be in altcoins for a while. You don't want to be in it forever, because then you're just going to be stuck in a forever loop. So you want to be buying, or you want to be trying to buy the lows and sell the highs. Like if you're in altcoins, you want to be trading them. You don't want to be investing in them. It's my philosophy anyway. There's a few exceptions, but it doesn't make sense to kind of talk about the exceptions if there's like a general rule to this thing. Can you please have a look at FTT? In my opinion, it's pretty decent. Okay, I mean, we can look at it. FTT is generally like pretty decent when Bitcoin's... Yeah, I mean, it's just a good looking chart. I don't hate it. Pretty much exactly the FTT Bitcoin chart is pretty much exactly the ETH USD chart. Look at that. So this is pretty much gonna outperform. FTT has been trading like a leveraged ETH has, basically. And I mean, ETH's been trading pretty nicely, so there you go. It's not looking bad. I don't hate it. As long as the support still stands on the Bitcoin pair, probably gonna outperform Bitcoin, and then you just kind of have to make up your mind whether Bitcoin actually looked good. And on the USD pair, it's still at support, still not terrible. Not that much more to say about it. How many people in real life know about your Twitter persona, Crypto Life? Maybe like 10, 15? I don't usually try, like I usually try to avoid talking about that stuff. Anyone, like in general, like it's like really hard, like a really different or difficult kind of talking point whenever I like meet with new people, like what I do for a living, because I try to avoid it. I don't want to talk about crypto in my real life, and I don't want to talk about my Twitter stuff even more. Like crypto is already bad enough, but Twitter stuff, I just don't. What would it take for you to personally mentor me for only 1 month? Seriously, I don't think like I've done mentorships in the past with like people I like, but I don't think I'm gonna do it again, just because it's like it's so much time commitment, and yeah, so probably like nothing in the world. Sorry, bro. Just not gonna, like in general, just probably not gonna happen. So yeah. Your family knows what you do, right? Or they think you do drugs? Yeah, my close family knows. My further family knows that I'm like, I have like my own job. But they don't know like my Twitter or whatever. I don't tell people. It's similar with playing poker for a living. Yeah, this like pretty much what I'm guessing. Because the thing is, like the moment you start to have to talk about like what you make and like that kind of stuff, like imagine you're a guy, and a bunch of my friends, like I have friends in like every kind of social circle of life, but like I have a friend that builds gym, like what's it called, like ovens and stuff, like the fancy ones, and like all the heating elements in a house and stuff, right? And he makes like $10 to $15 an hour, and yeah, I just feel shitty talking about that money with him, because he has like to save his entire life to be able to like afford a house, and then just barely get by. And then like I just try to avoid like all of that kind of talk and just focus on like having fun together, right? And this kind of just, yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it would kind of suck. Like normal people usually can't emphasize with it, and you just feel like a dick when you're talking about like all of that. I feel like a dick anyway, so I try to not to. Hello Dawn, do you like reading? What kind of stuff, if so? I used to read a lot of fantasy and like all that kind of stuff. I don't read that much anymore. Besides, like I've like Loom and Tad and a bunch of like my friends give me like manga recommendations that I read from time to time, and I read some myself. But I mean, other than that, I don't really give myself the time anymore. But I probably should. Pretty good hobby to have. And then the usual, right? Besides that, I just read whatever interests me. Like there's a bunch of topics that I find interesting. But yeah, like on the entertainment side of things, not that much anymore. What, Don? Why you don't like us? I mean, I like you guys. It's just like you don't want to talk about like your Twitter or whatever. Especially like the thing is, and I don't know if how in like what way this applies to you, right? But if you're in crypto, like if I tell someone that I don't know that I'm in crypto, I am immediately worried that that's gonna bite me in the ass. Be that from like either like them trying to kind of get on my good side to kind of take advantage of whatever I have, which I mean, you just can't do. I don't think I'd fall for any of that, but like either that or just plainly getting robbed, right? I mean, you're at risk. If you're in crypto, you're a person that is way more at risk of getting robbed and getting anything like bad done to you than you are anywhere else, right? If you brag about your crypto, you're gonna get fucked over. So it's like, why would you? I don't see the point going out in real life, like announcing like what you do if it's in crypto, because you're just making yourself vulnerable. And I mean, it's just very little reason to do so if you can avoid it. So there you go. That's kind of my in a nutshell answer to like that question. So, but Don, if you have a friend you really like, don't you feel tempted to educate them on some crypto opportunities, or do you avoid that at all? Like that's the one thing that I absolutely will not do. Is like give personal recommendations to anyone. Like if you tell people to buy or sell, like they're gonna lose their shit. I've done like some investment for like family in the past, and that's been wildly successful. My brother actually got quite a bit of money out of that, but that was the last time. Like it's just so much more stressful. Like I'm more than happy to kind of share what I do with people, but I don't want to like go to people and say buy now, sell now. Like that shit sucks. So I try to just keep that out of any relationship, other than with like my closest friends that I know can handle it. Have you ever bought something way too expensive for profits? I mean, I've bought a bunch of paintings that I liked a couple weeks ago, like real life paintings for like money that I would normally earn like back in before I did like crypto full time in like a year. So probably did that, but I don't spend too much. It's just enjoy what I have. I don't really need too much. Like besides like expensive holidays, I don't spend my money. So yeah, but that's kind of that's the reason for it. You don't want to gloat with your shit. I can only recommend you to not gloat. And the problem with like crypto, like when you mention, like let's say you say, oh, I bought 10 Bitcoin like at 3K, and people are like, holy shit, you put 30K into this thing, and then Bitcoin goes to 100K, and they know that you have a shitload of money in crypto, right? Like whenever you do any kind of numbers and tell people numbers, they can calculate it up, and you don't want to be in that position to kind of have to justify yourself not giving them something or other. What the fuck, Don? You bought in real life paintings instead of NFTs? Yep. I'm not like for me, like having anything digital, like I said before, like with skins and shit, right? In online games, I try to sell them if I can because they annoy me. You don't get anything when they win money, but if they lose money, you will be their worst enemy. Kinda. Like it's just complicated. Like even if they're not gonna hate on you, like if you trading is the thing, like my opinion on this chart can change by tomorrow, right? I see something I don't like, I trade this 2 or 3 times around. Like with, for example, with my XRP position, right? I shilled this at 88 cents, right? Or like 87, somewhere in here. Like I shilled this, it went up. I talked about it some more, and then I was like, okay, yeah, this looks still really good at 115, and at 130, I was like, holy shit, I need to take some profit. Even though my first take profit target was way higher at the time. And then it dumped. And then like at that point, like you can make so many mistakes if you're just not up to date. And at that point I was like, okay, I could see this retrace. I don't know. Like I could see this go all the way back down to 0.9. And then if I tell that someone that bought in like based on my recommendation somewhere in the middle, they're going to be like, fuck, I'm going to have to sell. Maybe they bought like here at 115 and they're selling. And then I get bullish again down at like 112 or 110. And they're like, what the fuck? Buy back in. Like maybe they get that information up here and they get chopped to pieces, even though like I tell them exactly where or whatever I think is happening. Like it's just, if you don't have access to the trading account that you're kind of trying to manage, it's going to be really, really difficult. Do you think a mini short squeeze is coming? I don't know. I'm just watching this daily level. Like for me, this daily level is the one thing to watch. If it kind of fails today in the next 4 hours, right, I think we're heading back down again, and I'd probably just sell everything again with like a 4% gain or whatever, which would be hilarious. But if you fail that level, I'm gonna sell again. If we don't, I think it's probably gonna go higher, and then yeah, probably a short squeeze or something of the sort. Do you think that crypto will slow down in the future with gains? Yeah, I think so. At least like the bigger ones will. I think we were all already really close to like the gold market cap is a really good kind of target. And the closer we get, the slower it's gonna go, I think. But it could also be that it's just gonna speed up and then approach the gold market cap and then stop at that point. I can't predict the future, but my gut feeling is that like the closer we get to the gold market cap, the slower it will be, and yeah. As a surgeon, I always say never operate on your local pub owner. If it goes well, you get a free pint. If it goes bad, the whole village will hate you. Exactly, exactly. It's just gonna like seriously, like you should kind of avoid that. I can only recommend it, and it's gonna feel good in the bull market. But like tell people where they can educate themselves. Tell people kind of how to do it, but never tell people what to do. It's a thankless business. And it can destroy good friendships even. So can't recommend. Is previous all-time high a serious resistance? No, I don't think so. Like in the sense of, is it gonna be trend reversal or like trend reversing? No. Like so, for example, let's say we get back, we break out, we go to like 60K. Could I see this happen? 100%. And then you might say, yeah, but why the fuck did you say it's not a serious resistance then? Because I think if this happens, the way to like 80K or whatever is pretty clear. No matter how far it pulls back down, I think it's a really good buy. Like even if it pulls back down to 40K at that point, I think it's a really good buy. And then I think it's gonna break the all-time high. So it might be a good resistance, but it's not gonna be a trend reversing one. If you wanna have like a trend reversing resistance, it's 50K. And that's why I was like a few days ago, I was posting about like being careful at 50K. It shit the bed, and I think that's the reason why, because so many people are watching it. It's basically the last place to make a complacency shoulder, I think. So is it a good resistance? Short time frame definitely, longer time frames definitely not. Yeah, someone asked that they can't find Osaka. Ale wrote it properly. Thank you for that. Do you think Bitcoin will ever be below 10K again? No fucking idea. If we break below 40K, I think there's a chance, but 10K is quite low. I wouldn't want to bet on it. If it goes there, I'm just gonna buy. Like that's how far my thinking goes. Like I'm never gonna say, okay, it's just gonna go drop below 10K. If I ever say like it's gonna go to 6K again, that's gonna be like, that's a joke. I'm just joking. Not serious there. Like if you want to be buying below 10K, you can if it goes there. It's just if you're expecting it to go there, I think you're nuts. Say 50K rejects down, where do you buy back? Good question. I think the best place to buy back is 40K because that's where your invalidation is. So let's say this rejects, rolls over. I think that's gonna lead to like a small bounce, roll over again. And then either we start reversing, or worst case scenario, we break that too, like bounce a little, break it, and then I think we're just headed for the shitter. Because that, I mean, you can see how this would look like. So if this starts rolling over, we're in deep trouble, right? It's just 40K, best support level that we have. Oh, excuse me, getting late over here. Did the 1 hour close create an SFP? Nope. With SFPs, what you want to be looking out for is, like, you can say, okay, I rated the high and then close back down again. But in general, with SFPs, you want to look for like significant areas where it does it, right? For example, here, the reason why I'm like, even though this isn't the cleanest SFP, the reason why I'm saying, okay, this is like a decent SFP is because you look at this and like, okay, it took out the high, it reacted strongly. This is pretty much the exact same thing on a chart, right? But why is it like that I say that there's a decently sized difference there? And I'm not saying this can't go down from here, by the way. But why is there a big difference there? The reason why is the context. This SFP that we just talked about in the 50K range, right, was right while the daily was at resistance. And that's very, very different from here, right? The daily is nowhere. Like this is in the middle of nowhere. So like this lower time frame, small, tiny SFP is, if anything, like a small time frame SFP. So like if you traded this, you would target down here. You wouldn't target like complete reversal. Now it could happen, right? This could completely reverse, but you wouldn't want to be targeting that low, is what I'm saying. Hope that makes sense. That's how I treat them anyway. SFP is like a specific term coined by trader Dante, I believe. And his definition might be like a different one. But for me, only like if you see like a pattern like this happen at high time frame support or resistance, or below like very, very obvious swing points, or above very, very obvious swing points, then it's significant. In this case, not that much to me. So what does SFP mean? It means swing failure pattern. And if you want to like Google that, I'm pretty sure you can find stuff on it. Not just the last couple of candles, context also matters. Okay, noted, thank you. No problem. I mean, I'm not saying like this isn't gonna go up or down, and you can definitely say, okay, rated the high, whatever. But like always look at it with context in mind. Like that's how trading goes. Like you're gonna see people, and I don't want to throw shade at anyone, but you're gonna see people like you have an uptrend, and then you see like a candle like this, and then they're gonna say, oh, or like we can even make it like this. And then they're gonna say, oh, like spinning top or whatever. You always have to short this, and it's just bullshit, right? You don't want to be just like you see a candle stick or whatever just on its own, and you don't like this doesn't give you much information. If you like, okay, there's a high time from resistance here. This went parabolic, made a blow off top, and then closed like this below resistance. Then do go ahead and short it. But that's not because the candle looks like it does. It's just it's context in combination maybe with that candle if that's something that you want to be looking for. But like if you just look at stuff in isolation, you're never going to find anything that provides you any good edge. You want to look at context, and that's where you find stuff that is actually interesting. All the context-less stuff people have already figured out. Because if there's no context involved, right, you can just run a bot, and the bot's always going to be better than you. So you don't even have to look. Like if you're looking at this and you're like, okay, every time this candle happens, it starts dumping or it starts pumping. Like this candle stick formation. If there was anything there would be a bunch of people that are like more diligent and smarter than you that are already taking advantage of that. You don't need to waste your time. But if there's like something more complicated that actually like you can work in your system with context, then there's probably still something there that you can take advantage of. So. That's a neutral candle, confirmation needed in the third candle. Yeah, but like all of that, like it's bullshit. If it worked that well, you would have like bots running all over it. And you'd like, it's just not how it works. Like if it's just that static, it's very, maybe it works for some time, but it's never gonna work full, like all the time. It's just like, in today's day and age, stuff like that, edges like that don't stay in the market for long. So yeah, the textbook stuff, I mean, if you do it with context, there might be something there. If you're like, okay, every time this and this candlestick formation comes in at resistance, it dumps, and at support it dumps, or like something like that, I'm down to argue it. But other than that, like, I feel like it's just you wasting your time. Kretz channel teaches PA. Yeah, I think like the best way to learn to learn what is important basically is by looking at Kretz channel. It's the best kind of way to do it, and it's the best thing about it is that it's crypto themed. So you don't have to listen to like the drivel of the like from the FX guys or like whatever that try to sell you a course or whatever. Kretz stuff is just like you don't have to pay for it. You just go through it and it's free. And then he has his topics, right? And this is how you should approach learning in general. Something I see people do way too rarely is when you have like a summary of topics, right? And this is like the most valuable thing that you can have. Like for example, Kretz summary of like trading, right? You see a bunch of topics in there, and what you should be doing is you go through like the list, you learn that, and then you're like, okay, but I still have questions to this. I don't quite understand this fully. And then you start like just looking up shit that was talked about in there. And then what will happen every time, like let's say risk management. He talks about risk management. You're like, okay, this risk management, I kind of understand like what he's talking about, but I want to know more about it. You start reading into it, and then you're going to find something that you like in the topic of risk management that you don't understand, and then you should just look that up, and then you go down the rabbit hole, and it keeps on going. And that way you learn the best, at least in my experience, because then you actually just like make a chain out of whatever you're looking into, and then you find stuff that is actually interesting, and you can go into as much depth as you like. And at some point you're like, okay, this is enough for me, just gonna move on to the next topic, and then the next topic, and then at some point you're through them all, and you kind of have like a decent read on what trading is. And then you can start going from there, like wherever you want to. Like it's not, okay, I've learned all of this, I can start trading and it's gonna be for me for like the rest of my life. You always have to kind of start like adding stuff to it. So can you link the Discord, Don? Give me a second, I'll actually do it. Sorry for the ad, but I don't want to have like my Discord go up. Give me. Okay, so there we go. Sorry about that. So that's the Discord channel that Loom and I made. We're not in there all the time, but it's like just a Discord channel where people talk about trading and shit. I was short on ETH and it chatted. Yeah, I mean, you kind of shorted into higher time frame support. Sorry to say, and it held. So, yeah, not the best. Bottom shoulders, yeah. The good old bottom shoulders. We made that because we were like so annoyed by people shorting the bottom. That was in here, I think. Loom and I were like, okay, we were both bullish, and we were like talking about like this is gonna go up, and we wanted to make a Discord, like just called it bottom shoulders, and longed while doing it. Hey Dawn, what do you think about an Argentinian newspaper quoting you for crypto prices prediction? Dude, the fucking sucks, man. Like the thing is, they quoted me, and for the people that don't know, like a Argentinian newspaper, whatever, like a pretty big one, quoted me on basically my meme predictions with like where I said like XRP and TRX is gonna go up, and they ignored everything else, and it just took the shittiest like predictions that I've ever made and kind of put them in there, and it just fucking sucks. It's like, oh no, this is gonna be so fucking bad. This is not what I stand for. But and then they just like made shit up too. Like it's not even stuff that I said. Like I said TRX is at support. I'm expecting a bounce, and it bounced. And then like he's expecting TRX to outperform Bitcoin for the long term. Like what the fuck are they talking about? So yeah, I'm gonna be the most hated person in Argentina, I think. But I mean, yeah, at least I got quoted somewhere, I guess. But yeah, fucking hell. The article is cringy as fuck, though. I can link if you want, but it's in Spanish. Yeah, I've read it. I don't want to see it again, but thanks, man. Yeah, it's painful. It's always when I said ETH, like back. There are still news articles about this, but back at like $100 ETH, I like predicted like I think 1k ETH or something, and a newspaper picked it up, and they're like, "Oh, this guy is predicting 10x." Like whatever, fine with that. I mean, it even played out in the end. That's pretty nice. But fucking hell, I don't want to be in newspapers predicting XRP to go up and fucking TRX. That sucks. Link please. I don't think anyone can post links in here, so yeah. ETH popping off, let's fucking go. If ETH pops, other altcoins will follow, so that's always nice. You want to see ETH go up if you're in altcoins. No reason to hate on ETH if you're in altcoins. Check the amount of new users on the Discord. I don't wanna. I'm gonna get hated for like getting a bunch of you guys in there. But it's like it's a free Discord and everyone can join as far as I know. So, like I wouldn't do like a paid Discord. Fucking sounds like pain. Don, how do you manage to trade in price discovery? You don't. You just like absolutely don't. You have like your target, your final target, and you take profits there if you want to, but like don't manage it too much. Like if you're like lucky enough, like let's say there's no price action. Let's say this is the chart, right? I'm too lazy to actually open up a chart in price discovery. Let's say we're in here, right? Replay from here. Let's say we're in here, right? And you might say, okay, it went down afterwards, but like this is the chart, right? Just literally just up only. You don't want to be managing this too much. What you want to be doing is like you pick an invalidation. Let's say this is your like area where you're like, okay, this is the last consolidation before it popped. I've been in this from like the lows from down here somewhere. Like I bought this here. And I want to keep some of my profits, but I don't want to put a target in because this could go on for like quite a while longer, right? Then you're like, okay, this is the last consolidation that is meaningful. And you never want to take the consolidation that is closest to price because that's always going to get run at some point. Like you could look at this. You get like a consolidation here, and if you're like, okay, if it goes below the consolidation, I'm going to get out, then you get fucked. It's almost always the case, right? Here, consolidation, it goes below, you're fucked. In here, you wick out. Like every time, like almost every time you get fucked. So you never want to take the one close to price, like the first one, but the second one is almost always fine, right? Like let's say You're looking at this, never got retested, right? You're in trading in here. You're looking at like not this current consolidation, but the one before it, that's fine. Like most of the time, if it's not bearish, it's gonna be fine if you just have one consolidation between like where you wanna get out and price, right? So this one is no go, but this one is fine, right? And then you just keep in the trade and you do that on the way up. And then, yeah, you're gonna lose some gains. And in this case, it trades, it fucks off, loses this one, and then it loses this one and bearishly retests. And that's where you get the fuck out. And then whatever it does next, oh, right, bearishly retests, you get out. And then maybe you can just get back in here and try again and do the same play again, and then you get out below here, then you get chopped up a little bit, but in the end you're kind of fine and it just goes sideways in this case. But like that's how you can, and this is low time frame obviously. On the higher time frame you go, the more accurate it's gonna be, right? Obviously if you're on a low time frame scale, it can chop through your entry. But then again, like if you're on the 4 hour, you don't want to be in the trade for too long, right? If you're on the daily time frame, the same thing works. Or like even on the weekly time frame, the same still applies, right? And this, like the weekly time frame is usually the one that I look at. And then, yeah, there you go. That's kind of how you can manage these things in price discovery. Hope that makes sense to you. But yeah, price discovery is pretty hard. You're gonna just sit there and it goes and goes and goes. And you're like, holy shit, I don't want to give all of this back. And then you can sell partials, you can do whatever, but don't manage it too much. Hey Dawn, I'm about to buy ETH Classic. Can you FUD me out of my position? I mean, FUDding is my favorite thing to do, so let me see. I mean, looks like ETH. Looks like basically exactly like ETH. I don't hate it. Do whatever you must. I think there's a good chance this breaks down here. If you want to compare this with anything, and don't ask me why, like I have this kind of ability. It's fucking weird. But like you look at this, right? And then I'm looking at this and immediately I know like that it looks like Raven. It's just fucking mental illness at this point, I think. I don't know. Like you look at this, it's the same thing where it's like you have like your support in here, right? Your support in here, and then it sits on top of it, breaks down, and comes back up. I don't know if am I the only one that just kind of sees this shit? I can remember this like every time, but like this just looks similar to me, so I could see it play out the same way. Why the fuck are you looking at Ravencoin and ETC? Someone recommended ETC and I've seen Ravencoin like a while ago. So, I mean, I just compared the two, but I see this shit all like on all of these charts. It's fucking weird. The stuff on price discovery was very helpful. Thanks, Don. No problem, man. Happy to help. Don's in the Matrix. No, it's just it's fucking mental illness is what it is. Don, why do you like Curve? Who said I like Curve? What the fuck kind of question is that? I'm gonna end on that question because I was fucking out. Where the fuck did that come from? But yeah. I mean, I've already went over my time and I actually want to go out and drink something given it's Friday night. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys coming by. I want to thank the sponsor of today's show again before I kind of finish up, which is FTX, formerly known as Blockfolio. If you want to do any kind of mobile trading, that's the app that you kind of want to take, in my opinion anyway. I've used it. If like I try to not mobile trade, but I mean, if I do it, I usually try to kind of keep to the good ones, and FTX is definitely one of them. And you obviously can still kind of track your portfolio there. So that's also nice, kind of good 2-in-1 deal on a trusted, at least to me, trusted platform. So that's nice. So yeah, thanks for the sponsorship. Thanks for you guys for coming by, chatting. I know it was a little bit casual. I hope you didn't like hate it. Just kind of chatting shit, making stuff up as we go along. Just casual Friday, I guess. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Appreciate your support, and we'll see each other on Monday on Weekly Open, if you guys watch that. If not, Wednesday, as always. See you guys. Bye bye.